later.
Yay, look at that. It's all about lobster, right, Mom?
You're right.
Welcome to Atlantic Canada Cooks on May 11th, 2025. And I think the first thing I want to say is Happy Mother's Day. Mwah. Mwah. Extra kisses from all of your kids, both natural born and the adopted ones along the way. And Mother's Day is not celebrated in all countries or all continents around the world at the same time, but a lot of the world is celebrating that today. So we really just want to say, regardless if this is something celebrated in your country, Happy Mother's Day, and we celebrate all moms around the world. And moms are the ones that make sure we're eating right.
Try to,
right? Well,
my favorite.
So today's going to be about lobster, and we've got a couple of really simple dishes. And because I'm really honoring my mom, we're going to be cooking up a couple of her absolutely favorite dishes. And, you know, spending time. We talked about that last week, I think.
Yeah.
That was on Conversation Club.
Yes.
What do all moms really want?
Time with their children.
Right? So thank you for spending some of your time with us today, and especially to explore some Atlantic Canada's pride, and that is our Bay of Fundy lobster. And I have my New Brunswick is Home hoodie on today to really honor that. We know that we do have some of the best lobster in the world. We ship it globally. It's a huge export out of Canada. And if you're coming here to visit, it is a must-have treat for sure. But this is from Collins Lobster, so hi to our good friends in Alma, New Brunswick. That's where my dad grew up. That's where he's from. And a big love to my Aunt Greta, who's here on today. And I know this is one of her favorite things in the world. So to her kids, make sure she has lobster today. So we're going to get a few things started. This is great. This lobster here is about just under 2 pounds. So we'll kind of hold it up next to my head. You can see how it is. And all parts of this are great, but a lot of people think lobster are black. They are, but as soon as they're cooked, they turn this amazing red. And we do cook them at home occasionally, but to be honest with you, leave it to the experts. And at your seafood and your fishery places, they're going to cook them perfectly for you. And we're going to put this little guy behind us because we'll be cleaning him later. We have some of our good Moroccan friends going to be joining us today, and I'm going to teach them how to clean a lobster. But we had actually a much bigger lobster, and this particular lobster, when we cleaned it, this lobster weighed probably, and I know we talk in pounds here, so this lobster is about 4 pounds. And you can see the difference in the size of the tail with this one, much bigger. The tail is almost the same size as the whole lobster. So everybody really likes this lobster tail meat. So we're going to show you a little bit, but Mom, while I'm showing them a bit, do you want to turn that pot on? We're going to get our chowder started. And Mom's just got a pot, and she's going to put some butter and a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of it to get that melted, and we're going to add those ingredients soon. So I just want to hold this up because there's the tail and there's the meat that came out of the tail. So you can see that shell's there to protect that lobster really well. And then obviously some of those other ones, those nice lobster claws. I can tell you this is some of my favorite meat that's in this piece of the claw.
It's the sweetest.
It is, right?
It's the sweetest meat. Yeah.
And then there would be, and each one of them has a bigger claw and a smaller claw. So look at that. But we're going to eat all of those. And so I'm just going to put this over here, the tail out of the way. The other thing is, in this little bit bigger lobster, there's meat inside of all of these legs. And you can take, and oftentimes we would just bite off the end and basically suck that out like you're in a straw. Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in with our little bit of vegetable stock, and I'm going to put it in the chowder when we're frying everything to get that lobster flavor in, because I didn't make a lobster stock. So we're going to start the chowder, and this is, again, one of our favorite recipes. So, Mom, I'm going to give you these to throw in. We're going to throw those in. Remember, we're going to take those back out. But we're going to get that flavor starting to build. And what I'm going to do is I've got some celery here. And this is one of the ingredients that you'll frequently see used in Atlantic chowder. And it gives a really nice crunch, and it's a real beautiful freshness. And I love that about chowder, because you want your chowder to have a freshness. And you're gonna see we're gonna put a mostly natural, all natural seasoning in with it, because we wanna keep the flavor of the lobster. In addition to lobster, I am gonna also have some beautiful sea scallops, which I'm gonna show you in a minute. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting up one stalk of celery, and that's a nice big size stalk, and a couple of green onions, because we're going to put a bit of onion in there, but not a lot. I like to use the green onions because I find that these little onions have a milder flavor, and they're not going to power my chowder. Did you listen to that? I'm saying powder instead of chowder. We're going to rhyme here. So we've got our celery and our onions cut up. So I also have some diced carrots here. So I'm going to put the celery and the carrots and the onions together. And I'm going to give this to my mom to saute down. Go for that. And because, here you go, Mom. I'm going to take these out. Nope, get all in. So that they're at a good level. And we've got the lobster claws in there. We're going to show you in a minute. Or the legs. Because there, again, we're just getting the flavor out of them, which is what we want. So into the pot, I'm also going to add some nice, fresh parsley. Now, I don't want to use too much, but I want to use enough to heighten sort of those nice flavors. So in the size pot I'm making, I'm going to use about 3 sprigs of this fresh parsley, and I'm just taking the leaves off, because we just want the leaves, not the sticks. Want me to put this in? Not yet, Mom. We need to fry all that up a bit. Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to get the onions and that celery cooked a little bit before we add the liquid, so that we get them what we would say, just softened. I'm going to show you, or translucent, so that they're cooked through a little bit. And there's about the amount of parsley we're going to put in. So in my measuring hand, we all have a measuring hand. So about this much in the palm. And I'm going to put that in. Mom, you're going to smell that nice aroma come out. And then the other thing I'm going to put in, wish we had smell-o-vision. This is fresh thyme. And for those of you that follow along, they'll very much know that thyme is my favorite herb. And as we say, you can give the gift of thyme. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just sort of pulling those leaves gently off backwards. So I'm going to take the sticks off and keep all those nice little thyme leaves. Now you don't worry if a couple of the sticks go in. You can pick them out later. But we want to get all that beautiful flavor. So parsley and thyme are the 2 seasoning herbs that are going to be going into my chowder. I will be finishing it with a little bit of dill, but I'm going to wait till the end to put that in. So there we go. I'll show you how much thyme we're putting in. As Michelle drops her thyme. There we go. About the same amount. And that's going to go in. We're going to show everybody. Wow. So you see our legs are just floating around in there. And what's happening is the vegetables are getting soft. And the flavor from that beautiful lobster is getting into those. So we're gonna let that simmer just for a couple more minutes. And then Mom's gonna add, we've got some chicken stock here, or vegetable stock, sorry. So we're gonna add that vegetable stock. And then we're gonna simmer that for about 10 minutes. And I'm also then gonna add in my potatoes. So we wanna cook those potatoes down. Now, let's get some lobster in there as well. I like to wait and put my lobster in. I'll put it in probably with the potatoes because I really want the lobster flavor to stay whole. And I don't want to boil the lobster through the whole thing,
cooked, yeah.
right? Exactly, Mom. It's already cooked. So we've got the tail, this beautiful piece here. When you're eating it, we need to make sure that we peel off the back because there's a couple of pieces in here that we just want to remove, just like any seafood. And we'll take that out. There we go, nice and clean. And we're gonna take these wonderful pieces, and I like to bite into my lobster. So we're gonna make sure we have good size on this. And then the other thing is, I'm gonna use half this tail because in a few minutes, we're also gonna make my mother's favorite lobster rolls. So I'm cutting this into nice size pieces again. I want to feel like I'm biting lobster, right? Mom, I think you can add that liquid in there. So these are the pieces that came out of the knuckles. They're already cut up, sort of, they're small. There we go. And again, I'm gonna leave half of this tail and this nice big claw. This is gonna go into our lobster roll. Leave those pieces, and this will go into our chowder. So the other thing, those are going here. Where's those beautiful scallops? Aha! So our other favorite, sea scallops. Now, look at the size of these scallops. So these again from the Bay of Fundy. They were freshly cooked or caught just this week, or probably just a couple of days ago. And we're gonna cut those ones up. Like Mom said, we're gonna save a couple for you and I to sear and enjoy. How's that look? We're probably gonna need a little bit more liquid, Mom. So right behind is the kettle. So if you can add probably another cup. These are really large scallops, and oftentimes we would put them into the chowder whole. But I am just gonna gently cut these in half, and those are gonna go into the chowder in those nice size, and that way everybody gets a bite. That's a really big one. I'm gonna quarter that one, and that way, you know, the scallops are all through the chowder, and we want everybody to enjoy a nice bite of those. There we go. Now the scallops are actually gonna go in last, even though they are raw, but the scallops cook extremely quickly. And again, we want to keep those fresh and delicious. So this is looking good. As soon as that's up to a boil, Mom,
Yeah.
and you can put the cover on if you want, we're just going to take the legs out and add the potatoes. So we're going to get the water boiling, and we're going to take the legs out, and then we're going to add the potatoes and the lobster. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my lobster pile on top of my potatoes. There we go. And that's all gonna go over to Mom. So the other thing is this is a chowder. I'm not gonna add any dairy to my chowder, and it's just a choice that we make so that we don't have a lot of dairy. But most people here in the Maritimes are gonna put some cream, or you could put some different types of, maybe an oat milk, or just regular milk inside of it, but we're gonna keep that one so it's just pure with the liquid and the nice flavors. So before I start my lobster rolls, because these are a real favorite, we're gonna put these beautiful fiddleheads on to steam. Now I have a big fan of steaming them versus boiling them, because you're going to keep more nutrients and more flavor. Now, this is a delicacy that grows here, very few places in the world, and technically it's a fern. It's obviously an edible fern, and it grows by fresh water rivers. And it only can be picked about 3 to 4 weeks of the year maximum, but in different regions.
In brooks.
So in brooks, right?
Yeah.
Fresh water.
Yeah.
And it really around that brook where you would pick it, these would only be ready around maybe a 2-week time frame, and you have to pick them before they grow. And they're very delicious, like all green vegetables, and they're very healthy for you. But it is important that you cook them at least partially. You can eat a few raw ones, but you do need to make sure that they're a little bit cooked. So we've got a pot in behind us with a steamer. And we're going to put that there, Mom, and we're going to set that timer for about 9 minutes. So this is how we get these things done. So those are going to take about 10 minutes. And it's so simple because, you know what, when we eat those, we eat them pretty natural. We put a little bit of butter, salt, pepper, and some nice vinegar on it. And that's it. So let's get over and get our lobster roll ready. So the ingredients that we keep for the lobster roll is I'm going to use again a little bit of parsley that's going to go into my lobster roll. And I don't use a lot of seasoning because I love the taste of the lobster. And if you use too much seasoning, you're going to overwhelm that lobster. So, Mom, there's one other ingredient. Always one of those moments. I have a little bit of minced garlic here. Just going to put a tiny bit into the cheddar. We got all the legs out, Mom?
Yep.
Awesome.
I know, I had them out, and then I stirred, and I'm, oh, there's another one.
Always a stray.
There's always a
not
stray
to worry,
there.
right? Not to worry about that.
He didn't want to leave the pot.
So, Mom, have you always loved lobster rolls? Is there a place that you have a favorite that you like to go to?
No, most restaurants make really good lobster
Here.
rolls. Like down in Alma.
Yeah.
They always made good lobster rolls,
Everybody.
and they fill them really full.
Yeah. And that's what you want to make sure
Yeah.
that you have. I know Shinobu's on here. Thank you so much to our Zoom audience. Join our newsletter if you want to join into our Zoom live audience. And an awesome for our YouTube fans. And thanks for subscribing. And we've had a lot more subscribers, and get excited. There's a lot more amazing videos, recipes to come that we're going to continue to share. But I know Shinobu, when she was visiting from Japan, I think she ate a lot of lobster rolls. That
She
was
did.
her favorite. And you should, when you visit here, experience all of our best foods in the world. And as we say everywhere, local is wherever you are.
Yeah.
And if you go to where the locals are having it down on the docks, like when I go down there in Tetuan, we're getting the freshest ingredients, and you know that you're going to have it cooked perfectly. So this is a little bit of the diced green onion that's going to go into that bowl. And the other thing I'm going to do is when I put the celery for the lobster rolls, I'm just going to slice it. Oh, it's almost like we would say like matchstick.
Yeah.
Nice and thin, because what we want is the fresh crunch of it, but we don't want to overwhelm everything with the celery taste.
No.
I'm gonna get that guy. There we go. So you see they're cut into really thin pieces, and now we can put our knife the opposite direction, and I'm gonna run that back through that celery, so we have a really small dice on it. And trust me, it makes a difference, because if it's really big pieces, sometimes it can overwhelm the lobster. And lobster is the top most important thing today. Well, Mom, but with the lobster as her favorite. We're talking about what we love and spend time together. And Mom, I want to say thank you. This is 250 weeks.
Oh, isn't that something? Wow.
250 weeks. Every Sunday, and I know I've hosted about 20 or 30 episodes from other places and around the world. But thank you so much for being
You're
part of
welcome.
this. And hopefully we show people that take the time with your mom. I've learned recipes that, you know, from generations that you grew up with. You've helped me refine a few things. So take the time and stop by and cook with your mom. I highly recommend it. So we're going to get that lobster diced up. Get those pieces nice size. So as you said, Mom, you get to see your chunks of lobster. And I think there's some mayonnaise right there. There we go. So, Mom, we've got the rolls out. So are we going to toast one of those a little bit?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
there might be a frying pan right behind you there.
I have a little butter on it.
Right. So Mom's favorite way to have this is, and by the way, we use a hot dog bun. It's so traditional, but they're nice soft white roll, and you don't want the roll to be overpowering. I like a soft roll, not a crusty roll. And she's going to put a little bit of butter on that and just toast it a little bit in a frying pan so that it gives a little bit of crisp. And there's one right there. Yes, Mom. One in the sink. There we go. So we have everything in here. It already smells amazing.
It does.
So what I'm going to do is I've got some mayonnaise here. And I'm only putting a small amount. And in that, I put about a tablespoon. So I have a cup of lobster and my other ingredients. And the other thing I'm going to add, and I don't want to stir it a lot. So I want to get all my ingredients in and stir it once. Because we don't want to break the lobster up. There we go, Mom. Did you add a little bit of celery salt to that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to put a little bit of cracked pepper. Again, not too much. We don't want to overwhelm that lobster. So there we go. I think that's going to come together perfectly. Yeah. Just enough. And you can see the fresh herbs. But the most thing that you can see the most of is those beautiful chunks of lobster. So Mom's going to get her roll.
Yeah, I have.
Toast it up a little bit here, and we're going to assemble that beautiful lobster roll for her. So Mother's Day breakfast is going to start with a lobster roll. But let's check on our chowder. That looks like it's simmering away great.
I checked.
So we're going to add those beautiful scallops in. Maybe give that a little stir, Mom.
Yeah.
So we're going to get those scallops in now because it's only about 5 minutes. And again, we want them to have some of that really great flavor as well. So we've got our ingredients here. Lobster roll. So yesterday we had a wonderful Latin market, which is really a multicultural market here in Moncton. So thank you to all the organizers, Amal Immigration Services and John Howard Society here in Moncton for just giving the opportunity for all of our wonderful international cultures here to just show off their amazing things, creations, I should say. So La Chica, I'm going to give her a shout out. She's making these unbelievable tortillas as they should be made from Mexico. And Mexico knows their seafood as well. Think about all the countries in the world that border on oceans. We tend to know our seafood quite well. And look at the color. Hopefully you can see that. They've got a little bit of a green color to them because she uses a little bit of a cactus in with these. But they smell amazing. And we had tacos last night.
Yeah, they were delicious.
So I'm going to make Mom her lobster roll. But you know what Michelle's going to have? I'm going to have a lobster taco. I don't eat a lot of wheat, very little. Maybe when I travel to Morocco because the wheat there doesn't bother me as much. So I'm going to get one of these out. And when your roll is ready, which it should be quick, you get a plate there, Mom.
Yeah.
Very fast. The other thing that we love having with lobster rolls And you'll see this on almost every menu here across Atlantic Canada. And that's a really good coleslaw. So in this, I have shredded cabbage. There's a little bit of purple cabbage. And there's green cabbage. And we've got some shredded carrot in there. Now, I've saved a little bit of my celery. And I'm just gonna do a little trick. I'm gonna flip this over so I don't have seafood on my board. And remembering that later when I go to clean, that I flip that board over. But I'm gonna add a little bit of celery to the coleslaw in addition to the cabbage and the carrots that are in there. And you can really put coleslaws or things that you see all over the world. Again, one of my favorite dishes to use as a side dish with pretty much anything. But it is camping season here, and you'll see this used a lot. It's great to take camping. There we go. And what I'm gonna add to this is I'm gonna add some fresh lime. So some lime juice. We want this to have a little bit of a citrusy flavor to it. Got a couple of lime wedges here. I'm gonna sneak a tiny bit in Mom's lobster. There we go. And I knew I didn't have as much lime, so I've got one of these. These are awesome to have in your fridge at all times. So I'm putting about 3 tablespoons of lime that's gonna go into this. In this bowl, I've got some fresh cilantro, and it's mostly cut up now. So I'm just gonna give this one piece a little cut. I've cut it into like really fine size. And this again, this is the other herb. How's our fiddleheads, Mom?
I just checked them.
Perfect.
They're not, oh yeah,
Look at that.
they're done.
So we're gonna add that cilantro into our coleslaw. Ooh, love the smell of cilantro. And the other thing we're gonna add in here is some nice cracked pepper. And I'm gonna put some nice sea salt in here as well. Did you heat that up? I did probably turn, thank you, Mom.
I turned both sides, yeah.
Awesome. You can probably turn the chowder down.
Yeah,
Maybe
I was
check the
gonna do that.
potatoes.
I did.
Awesome. Thank you, Mom. See, she taught me the base of making chowder. I don't know why I'm advising her because
know
Mom
either.
knows. So, and again in here, we're going to put some mayonnaise, and I'm putting for this amount about a half a cup of mayonnaise because I have quite a bit of my cabbage, and we want to get that mixed through. So there we go. Little tip, always use a good sized bowl when you're making this so it makes it a lot easier to stir. Nice. And the one thing I will tell you, because we're going to enjoy this coleslaw later, we've got a couple of friends coming over that are also moms. So I am spoiling several moms today. That brings me joy. So there's that mix. The other thing I'm going to add is a little bit of Dijon mustard that's going to go into this. And I put about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So one more stir. And that little bit of acid from the mustard and from the lime juice sort of helps break down the cabbage a bit and make it soft. It's perfect to eat right now, trust me. Mom's gonna get us a big plate out.
Want a plate?
Yeah, a big plate. Because we're gonna build this meal that we pulled together.
Oops.
Right? So we love our 30-minute meals, and we're winding to the end of our meal here. Thank you, Mom. And we need a bowl for the chowder, and we're good to go.
And a bowl for the chowder. You want a
You want to
smaller
put?
one?
No, we can.
Yeah, this is nice. It shows
Nice
off
size bowl.
better.
Okay. Do you want to ladle a little bit of chowder in?
Yeah.
Spoon over there. How exciting. Now, it did take me a little bit of time to clean the lobster, but to assemble the meal is definitely in this 30 minutes. So, As always, my mother perfectly toasted this roll. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here and we're gonna put that, and this is how a proper lobster roll should be. You want the lobster, oh yeah, my mom's gonna be happy with this, coming over the top. Now what I do put is, a little bit on the side is a couple of pieces of lettuce, and just a couple of small pieces. Gives it a little bit of nice greenery, but it also gives it a little bit of crunch. And I am not adding extra mayonnaise because it doesn't need it. I have just enough inside that lobster to make that perfect. Look, we're gonna give Mom a couple more pieces.
Please do.
Exactly, right? I'll just put this on the plate. Oh my goodness, Mom, it's falling out. That's what we need. There we go. We'll fold that back over. I'm going to give a little bit of nice coleslaw on that plate for her. And the best part is also adding that beautiful chowder. Ooh, Mom.
It's a big hunk
It's a little bit big bowl for us to use as a combo plate, but that's all right.
We'll do it on the side.
We'll do it on the side. And look at that. We'll finish off with my lobster roll, or lobster taco. I'm going to put a couple of pieces of that lettuce on the bottom. And we're going to finish off, and I'm going to have a little infusion with my lobster taco. And I have one surprise for you, Mom.
Okay.
Right? Because, of course, I can't really completely surprise her with this meal because she's helping me cook it. So thank you, Mom. But I'm going to use a lime in there to hold that up. That smells amazing.
I know.
I feel like this needs just a touch of fresh cracked pepper across it. Look at those beautiful flavors. We're going to move this. Come on around the side here, Mom.
Over there?
Right where you are.
Oh, okay.
And there's that sunshine we were
I know.
talking about this morning. Just coming out in time. So as we wrap up today, we hope you cook something amazing, enjoy some lobster. You can make these same recipes with crab,
Yes.
if you wanted to as well. But Mom, we stopped,
Oh, that looks
and
good.
she also loves her pistachios. And you had another white plate over there that was clean. And look at these absolutely beautiful treats. These were made by an incredible Algerian cook at the market yesterday. Look at that. So I thought, what better way, instead of a cake or anything, to have these nice little treats. So an extra happy Mother's Day, Mom. And there's dessert.
Wow, with oh gosh, a little netting around them.
All kinds
really
of
dressed
beautiful
out.
things. So from our kitchen to yours, please enjoy some meals together. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to look forward to enjoying some amazing lobster.
And happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Right?
All the moms.
All the moms. Greta, I'll eat one for you.
Thank you.
Right? And I see some of our other moms on here, Joan,
Yeah,
Shinobu.
yeah.
You know, go enjoy a beautiful day with friends and family.
See you next week.
See you next week,
Yes.
everybody. Are you ready to eat that, Mom?
Oh yeah.
I think so. So I always make her wait because I need to take a picture. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.